Let's talk about our next game. Dimajke versus Carbon, so the CIS representative versus the Oceanic jungler. This is just a funny matchup to me.
It's just a jungle battle.
Yeah.
Like, you don't know what's going to happen in this particular 1v1. They'll stick to bruisers, no doubt. We might get double Renekton's as an example this time. They might go Lee Sins. We don't know. Kindred, I still think, is very good in a 1v1.
Yeah, and that's one of the things where it's a jungle champion, of course, but a very different one. Where do you think Kindred shines? Because she's got so much map control on Summoner's Rift. It's a very different element, though, here on Snowdown Showdown.
So it's very difficult to kill Kindred, firstly, because if you get level 6, you have your ultimate to drop down. She's ranged, she's mobile, and she has slows everything. Literally, 3 hits do more damage. Kindred is just like the vein of mobility in jungle early.
Well, we'll have to see how these two jungle players do face off. I know Carbon's a big Nunu fan. Hopefully we don't see that one in a 1v1. It could be quite a long one. But Dimajke from CIS taking on Oceania's Carbon. Oceanic boys, when we talked to them, weren't too hot on their 1v1 preparation. We'll see what Carbon's got cooked up here for this one.
And no doubt junglers, they have cheese if it comes to anything else. So we'll see what they can bring out, besides maybe supports, who I would say equally as cheesy in a 1v1. The thing with these two, though, in this particular game, Dimajke and Carbon, they have nothing to lose. They're not regarded as the favorites in their region to take out this 1v1 tournament. In fact, they're the ones that can do whatever they would like, give it a red-hot crack and just try their best.
Yeah, and like you said, unfortunately, in some way for the winner of this, does actually have to play Kami now. Kami, not too hot on his 1v1 prowess, at least after one game, but we'll see as the tournament goes on just how good he can be. Because again, he does have so much experience in solo lanes.
I think Kami has to go through OCE first, now I think about it in that bracket. So he's got one more victory before he can make it into the winner of this one. So that first game we saw was a round back. And we'll see how that actually goes coming to this one. These guys, though, even moving into the winner of the next one between OCE and Kami, still going to be hard. So these guys, uphill battle, to say the least.
I mean, it's funny as well, just thinking a bit more about what are these junglers going to play. Carbon does have a pocket Poppy.
He has a pocket
If ever
everything.
he want to eat, that's true. He does like to play, mix it up a little bit here and there. So I think if anyone's going to have a weird jungle champion to play that he's comfortable in a 1v1, it might be Carbon. But who knows about Dimajke? He could have anything as we get ourselves into Champs League tier. Let's see how the bans are going. Is Urgot once again the first ban here in this draft?
Yeah, Urgot and Caitlyn might be the theme that we're going to see here. AD carries in general, just very good in 1v1 from their extreme amounts of range or utility to stay alive that all AD carries have been blessed with. Besides Urgot, who just does the exact opposite and oppresses you.
Yep, just all into you at level 2 as Misfortune and Annie are going to be the next two bans here. That's twice now that Misfortune's been banned away. See what the CIS jungler, though, does want to take away for his last ban here. He's considering it pretty heavily, actually. It does, of course, it is blind pick, so they can pick the same champion, but it's a matter of, do I think he's going to play the Lee Sin? Am I afraid of something like Rengar? It is actually Lucian, once again, that gets banned, though.
So they're committing to the AD carry bans, and with two junglers in this particular one-on-one, banning the AD carries is questionable, I might say, because they're more prone to making mistakes.
And you can see Carbon leaning back in his chair. Not too sure what to ban. He does ban the Jarvan that you mentioned, Rusty. Could be something we'll see. And now the real fun question is, what are these two players playing?
Oh my god.
Dimajke's got it locked in, the Heimerdinger.
He had
this could be a
Masteries
longer
ready
game
as well. Everything was ready to go. He locked that in. No hesitation. Exhaust Ignite. He means business.
Certainly does, as he's got that preparation underway. Carbon hovering the cannon. Hasn't quite committed to his pick just yet. And Heimerdinger, very different style of 1v1 champion, Rusty.
He sits in a bush. He places 3 turrets. And he tells you, come in. Have a look at my turrets. They're wonderful, aren't they? Now you're dead. And if you don't kill him, he gets your turret because he is a siege bot.
I mean, there's also the CS metric there as well. So Heimer does attack the 1v1s for sort of a different angle. Is Carbon going to commit? He is going to go for the cannon, and it's exhausting that on both sides for now. Remember, Mark Dash is available, but haven't seen it just out here. Maybe needs a few more all-in style champions for that one.
I do think that the Snowball is a very good spell to use. It has true damage. You don't need the flash then. But compare that to an Ignite, which does a lot more damage, or the Exhaust, which reduces a lot more damage, and you're blind pick. You don't know who you're going to be against. It's very difficult to assume that Mark is going to be a good choice over Exhaust or Ignite.
Yeah, that's true. We saw it in our first 1v1 there between Kami and Lex. Level 2, go all in, use all the summoner spells, and you can see people can die very quickly. Our first game was just over 2 minutes. We'll see if Heimerdinger can make it a little longer. In fact, this could be one of the longer 1v1s, depending on how it's played.
So the strategies between both of these guys are very different right now. Carbon playing the Cannon wants to poke people down and actually kill them, but it's very difficult for Cannon a lot of the time to actually get the farm that he's looking for. If he's ever pressured, it's very difficult. And the showdown turrets do seemingly a lot more damage. You can't let them just hit it once and then you can last hit the minion. It's very difficult to predict.
Yep. Certainly can be here. And like we've seen, 100 CS is a lot. I don't know if try to get that. It's a pretty hard condition to meet here. So we'll see what the players are going to look for. Heimerdinger already a champion that I think we expected, but it's funny to see it out so early as we are back on the Snowdown Showdown. As Carbon with the Doran's Blade going to move out against the Doran's Ring. Lots of Dorans, kind of as we expect here, 1 versus 1.
Yeah, definitely. A very strong early game item should be what they go for. And of course, the warding trinkets. No one going for any vision denial, just to get vision themselves. And against the Heimerdinger, I do not blame Carbon one bit.
No, has to make sure he's got those brushes in vision, because those turrets, if they stack up, are going to be very annoying. Well, that's 2 cannon picks in a row as well. But it's going to be a very different matchup here. Like Kami said, he got a good matchup blind pick there, Renekton versus Cannon.
That's exactly right, as there's a bit of banter going on between both of these guys.
You can see them smiling.
Some more dancing.
Having some fun.
Carbon could actually breakdance better than Dimajke can right now, just saying. All he's got's a rocket. It's cheating.
Well, it's spinning around there as minions are going to crash into each other, and the first turret does go down. Going to ward that back brush there as well. And again, it's different again. 2 range champions this time.
So there's actually a slight overthought, I guess, there from oversight from Dimajke, where he didn't actually place turrets at level 1 at all the second he could get to the lane. So Carbon had placed that turret to prevent it from happening, and instead of placing one, he waited until the minions got there, and it has a very long cooldown.
Yeah, and that's the other thing. You put them down, you get ammo back so you can place more, but Dimajke has to wait a long time now. He does put down that second turret. Carbon will back away from a bit of his aggression, but he's got some good hits down already. Does juke the laser as well. Carbon looking good right now. Did take a bit of damage though. Carbon
definitely having a lot in towards the offense tree. You can see the amount of health he gets back from not just the Doran's Blade. So very smart play from him, trying to get through the poke of Dimajke on this Heimerdinger. Difficult to say the least right now for Dimajke because he hasn't been allowed to set up. He's been prevented.
No, and that's the strength of Heimerdinger. Carbon instead now the one starting to push the wave a little bit more towards his turret. I'm going to keep poking. Nice grenade though, actually just tags him on the end. But another turret's going to go to Dimajke, holding fast against the early aggression.
And we've already passed the game time of that last 1 versus 1. So you can see how quickly the first one was. This one does not look like Dimajke wants anything to do with the cannon.
Carbon actually takes turret aggro. They're going to take a lot of damage, get stunned as well. Really nice trade there, despite the level advantage for Cannon.
If I was Carbon at this stage, I would consider pushing it to the turret before recalling and maybe getting another item, because he is almost towards that Doran's Blade. 1 more wave should give him enough gold to do so, and he can be a little bit more aggressive with the full health again, a little added sustain, but we'll see what he wants to actually go for. Very hard to push a Heimerdinger to the turret for the most part.
You can see Dimajke just, again, keeping the minion here. Carbon trying to go for the Q, just missing there, and will not connect for the stun, but he has finally pushed it all the way out, it seems. So we might see our first recall. We've seen our first level 3, our first health relic here on the 1v1 map, and maybe a recall coming in as well.
Maybe. We will see what Carbon wants to do. Dimajke has taken a bit of poke himself, but has the biscuit as well. Carbon hasn't used his plot, to be honest, either, so they might not even look for the recall. They might look to sustain their way through.
Nice juke there from Carbon as well. Does dodge the Rocket Storm. Is Carbon going to keep farming things away, maybe waiting for a certain item, then to come back and try for an all-in here. We could also see an ultimate. Carbon getting low though. Does have his potion, does pop it. And Dimajke does not burn the summoner's nice stun as well to keep him back.
And again, Carbon hanging around, use that potion, is actually hurting himself more by being here, opposed to recalling, getting some health back for free. Maybe he's forgotten he can recall because it's not the ARAM map.
Yep. I mean, it does look similar, but he can certainly recall and go by here on Snowdown Showdown. Dimajke level 5 now, starting to get towards the ultimates. I mean, do we expect big changes if we do see level 6 for either of these champions?
So Dimajke can place down his turret on the actual turret, which is very confusing to say. His Apex turret on Carbon's, and be able to siege it down if he gets a cannon there. It's very easy to do, very oppressive for Carbon to deal with. Carbon's best bet is all in.
Yep, and you can see now, maybe trying to think about it. Not quite level 6, but good poke, as he will take damage back from the turrets as well. And I have to say, for a jungler, Carbon's got some smooth moves. He's juked, I think, every turret laser from Heimer.
Yeah, he's been doing very well dodging the turrets.
Yes.
He hasn't been dodging everything else. A lot of the concussive grenades have actually connected from Dimajke. So both of these guys proving, you know, junglers, they do have the mechanics.
Certainly do. Here's Carbon jukes the rockets there, and Summoner's all up as well, but the health bar's starting to get real low. Carbon gonna go in for the all-in, and getting out and exhausted down, and Carbon barely gets the first blood.
Didn't even make it to level 6 before they decided to all in as the Poro Explosion comes out one more time. Carbon just barely finds himself winning that 1 versus 1 against Dimajke.
You can see they shake hands and the smiles are up, but that was very close. Carbon, there's one thing we can say about him on and off the map. He's got heart. That was a very gutsy all in there, not even level 6 like you mentioned.
Definitely. I think it was the tactical use of the exhaust as well, because Dimajke was the one who pushed it. He said, I'm going to go in right now. Gets exhausted and ignited, and the stun actually connects from Carbon. So the second stun maybe that we'd seen that entire game is all it took to get the kill.
And you can see Cannon. 2 1v1s, very small sample size, but 2 wins. Seems like might be a champion that could see some bans or just be quite popular here in the 1v1 tournament.
Yeah, people banning Misfortune when Cannon's been doing so well. Maybe you have to change that up a little bit. We'll see how they actually move into the next 1v1s if they all adapt from what they've seen so far from these other 2 games.
Well, we will, but we are going to throw back to Pulse as he's down there with OCE's Carbon.
Thanks, Pastry, and I am, of course, joined by Carbon, and I've heard a lot, Carbon, that many people regard you as not a good 1v1 player, but we just saw you pick up a win there. How did that happen? Have you been training a bunch for this 1v1 tournament?
Not all that much, to be frank. It is true, I'm not very good 1v1, so I thought, why bother practicing? Just come in here and do my best.
Well, you say not bother practicing, but you bring out Cannon. This is the second game in a row out of 2 that Cannon has won. So clearly you've done a little bit of preparation on that one. So you think Cannon's going to be the pick to go?
Well, I mean, when I say I've done no practice, I mean I've done a little bit of practice. Yeah, no, Cannon's very good 1v1, especially versus melee. I was hoping he'd be picked melee. I was a little bit worried when he picked the Donger, but bopped him, dude. Not even close.
Not even close. You think any games are actually going to go to 100 CS? Like, clearly the tactic of Jaime was to grind you out, right?
Yeah, I suspect. Or level 6. I mean, Jaime's level 6 is pretty strong. I don't know. 100 CS is just so much. I don't expect anyone to be able to reach 100 CS. Maybe if they pick Nunu or something. But no, first blood, level 2, level 3 or something, probably first, yeah.
Well, we'll have to see. Thank you very much for the interview, Carbon. Good luck on the rest of the games later today. And we're going to throw it back over to the casters to look at the next Pyro Explosion.
Thanks again, Pulse and Carbon. And Carbon, gotta love him.
Happy as always. Gave the big thumbs up after that victory as well. So he's doing very well for Oceania. He's proven. Spawn, you need to have a little bit more faith, it seems, buddy, because they're doing stuff, they're winning.
Did at least get that first game here, and it's funny that both of our interviewees have said, not very good 1v1, and it turns out they both win with a Cannon, so we'll see if the trend continues, but really going through these games, I thought that one was going to go a bit longer, but really aggressive all in by both of them at level 5 of all things, and we did see Carbon come away with the win.